Hey everybody, Jeremy here. Today just wanted to run through how to get set up and run your first Spotify ad. So Spotify, and I think that actually digital audio streaming in general is a really underlooked opportunity. There was a report that came out not too long ago that said that audio advertising had a 12 to 1 on average return on ad spend for brands, right? And so this is a little, you got to treat this a little bit different than you would, like a Google search ad or something like that, because this isn't a direct response ad, right? This is going to be kind of brand awareness and things like that. You're going to be looking for things more like a sales lift rather than directly being able to attribute a campaign back, like this click equals this conversion, that sort of thing, right? It's my understanding as well that repetition and things like that are really important with radio, or audio, in general. Spotify is one of the easiest to get started. If you're gonna buy directly, and that is not through like a demand side platform or some other tool like that. If you're going to buy demand directly from the platform, and if you have a small budget, that's how you're going to do it. Spotify is definitely the most approachable, right? Pandora, it's still my understanding that you have to talk to an account executive, and they have like some pretty big minimums and things like that. If you want to get into like programmatic networks, things like that, obviously you have to have a tool to do that. SoundCloud is only taking kind of larger clients at this point. Spotify is just kind of your best kind of dip the toes in the water for audio sort of option, right? So I'm going to be talking kind of a little bit more in general, in the next few videos about kind of this idea of like brand awareness and sales lift and things like that, because it's a little bit different than like kind of the direct performance, direct response, performance sort of approach that I typically take, or have taken in the past, right? And so I've been broadening my own horizons as well. But to get back to Spotify, so normally this big button here in the middle that's flashing on your screen, would say sign up, right? But for me, since I've already got a Spotify account and I've been running some ads for some people, that says manage your ads, right? So you'd go through the sign up flow, right? Pretty straightforward. It's not a terribly onerous form. But then I'm just going to jump into my ad studio. So these are going to be the names of the clients are obviously pixelated out here. But as you can see, have a couple of different campaigns running, right? It tells you some pretty basic metrics in the ads dashboard. So, you've got performance, so you can look at start date, end date, budget, click through rate, clicks, average frequency of ads served, reach, and ads, and then total number of ads served, right? And so reach is going to be the number of unique people that this touched. One thing to bear in mind, Spotify does have a display component that goes with all of their audio ads, but that's not like a key performance. That's like a nice to have, is how I kind of view that, right? The real kind of value is in the 30-second unskippable ads that they allow. So I just want to show you kind of how you actually go through creating an ad, though. It's really interesting, and there's two you should know. It is, you can do music related or not music related, right? So a brand, product, or organization, and then concert or artist merch or artist music. Those give some different targeting options, right? But I assume most of you aren't artists. Now, if you are, I'm going to make another video that runs through how the actual artist promotion process works. But we're going to do non-music related today. A brand, product, or organization, right? And so I'm going to do, daily marketing for the name of the video. So it's pretty simple. So it's not like a terribly difficult ad platform to use. Now, one thing I would say is that you start off with your start date, end date, right? Obvious, extremely obvious. It is a minimum of $250 a week, I understand, but that's a pretty low threshold. So if you're strapped for cash, I don't know if I would do just 1 week at 250, right? With this sort of brand awareness approach, it is, as it said, brand awareness, right? You're going to be trying your best to get some repetition and get your message kind of in people's mind. You're trying to kind of build that feeling with them rather than say, click this ad, buy this product right this second. You know what I mean? So you set your budget. Yeah, I'm just leaving these for default. So locations. For locations, they have DMAs, which are pretty heavily used in the advertising industry. That's going to be kind of like basically the TV market. So if you choose like the Denver DMA, you're going to get stuff that's like into, say like Wyoming and things like that, right? It's not going to specifically be Denver, but they have some other options as well. So like you can do state, right? You can do DMAs. You can do countries, I believe. Yep. So you can do province, country. You can do. And then I wanted to say you can do. So yeah, DMAs, states, and countries, right? After that, you can break it down by age. You can break it down by gender, platform. And then the interesting thing is that you can do, here's your actual targeting options, right? You can just do all music, which is fine for like a broader campaign. You can do playlist categories, which is interesting. So you can do like chill, cooking, dinner, focus, study, gaming, holidays, kids, a party, travel, workout, right? So if you have like a fitness product, this is an obvious one, right? Like grab some workout playlist categories, right? Or something like that. Holidays, right? Same sort of thing. If you have like a Halloween specific product, that sort of thing. Dinner, if you're into like cooking or whatever, right? Like all sorts of good stuff. Now, you can then actually do individual genres, and I put together a guide, and I will be coming out with that here in the next day or so, and I'm going to link it with this video. A guide on the actual demographic breakdowns of different like musical genres, right? So like electronica, for instance, skews right now like towards younger female, Hispanic, and I want to say middle income or lower income, right? Which is interesting, right? There's a lot of different breakdowns with how this goes. And so while you can't actually target demographics, you can kind of roughly target them through kind of who an average listener of every single one of these demographics or one of these targets would be, right? So just for now, let's just choose, I don't know, let's just choose spoken and audio, right? So spoken and audio is going to be like your podcast and things like that, right? So I would highly encourage you, if you're going after like a podcast audience, you can choose that. I forgot to. I'll just put United States. I just want to put something in here so that we can move forward. So next, then you attach your image, right, with a click-through URL. And Spotify right now will actually do a voiceover if you send them a script. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that. I haven't actually tried theirs, but when it comes to this sort of thing, the creative really is the king. So I would strongly encourage you to take the time to make like a great audio ad or hire somebody to make a great audio ad for you. Click through URL for the image, and that's really it. At that point, it just goes into the review process. I would encourage you all to get through their ad studio guidelines and read their kind of terms of service in order to make sure that you aren't running afoul of any of their rules. Got to play nice when you're in their house. But that's really it. Honestly, it's pretty simple to run a Spotify ad, and a lot of the value comes in creating just great creative. Just really be creative. Think about the fun things that you can do with an audio format. I think the audio is definitely on the rise in general. It's a space that I'm very, very hot on right now. And so, yeah, I encourage you all to check it out. If you have like a local small business or something like that, this could be a really good option of reaching, kind of millennials, rather than reaching millennials in a really smart way, where, you wouldn't necessarily have to pay a lot of money for traditional audio, which only 17% of millennials listen to traditional radio. 51% listen to streaming services such as Spotify. So really, really efficient way of doing this. And again, highly encourage you to kind of check this out. So thank you all for watching, and happy marketing, everybody.